They say he's the alpha, the boss of the shelter, the top dog. But what if everything you thought about King Charles is wrong? King Charles didn't bark. He didn't bite. He didn't even blink. He just walked in, slow, still, unfazed. And instantly, dogs around him seemed to part like the Red Sea. The internet dubbed him Alpha, the ultimate pack leader, the shelter king. Overnight, he became a viral myth, a symbol of stoic power and unshakable control. But here's the question. Is it real leadership or just good optics? People want to believe he's the boss because he looks like one. But when it comes to canine behavior, what looks like dominance might just be good social manners. Let's zoom in and decode what really makes a dog an alpha, and why Charles might be something even more powerful. The term alpha exploded thanks to outdated wolf studies from the 1940s. Researchers saw captive wolves fighting for control and figured that's how packs work. One wolf rules, the rest submit. Boom, alpha theory was born. But guess what? The very scientist who coined it later debunked it. In real wild packs, alphas don't exist, just parents and cooperative family units. And dogs? They're not wolves. They've evolved for thousands of years alongside humans, building completely different social rules. So why do we still use alpha to describe dogs? Because it's dramatic. It sells. But the truth? In most packs, leadership is about stability, not domination. Calmness, not conflict. And that changes everything. Let's break down the look. King Charles stands upright, chest out, tail high, and we immediately think dominance. But behaviorists call this the posture illusion. Body language can reflect confidence, sure, but also alertness, tension, or just plain curiosity. Some dogs stand tall because they're unsure and trying to bluff. Others, like Charles, might simply be naturally composed. Here's the twist. Dominant dogs rarely have to look dominant. They don't need to puff up. They command through energy, not posing. So when we freeze frame Charles mid-stride and go, "Whoa, alpha energy," we're possibly just reacting to charisma, not control. It's not always what it looks like. Dominance doesn't always bark the loudest. In fact, real leadership in dogs often looks like silence. Calmness is magnetic in a chaotic environment, and King Charles, he radiates it. He's not reacting. He's not chasing. He's managing the energy of the room by simply existing. In shelters, energy is everything, and dogs pick up on calm like humans pick up on status. Charles doesn't need to correct anyone because his stillness speaks louder than growls. That's why others give him space, not out of fear, but out of acknowledgement. He doesn't act like a king. He just is. And in the canine world, that's what true leadership often looks like. Low drama, high presence. Let's stop guessing and look at actual control. In a group of dogs, the leader is usually the one controlling space, movement, and resources. It's not about who growls, it's about who gets access without resistance. Does Charles dictate who goes where, who eats first, who initiates play? Surprisingly, not always. Footage shows him mostly observing, sometimes even deferring space. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. Leaders don't fight for control. They own it quietly. Charles isn't trying to dominate. He's managing energy and respecting boundaries. That's not alpha by the TikTok definition. That's called emotional intelligence. And yeah, dogs can have it too. There's a reason the alpha label sticks so easily. Humans love a clean story. Top dog enters, takes control, rules the shelter. It satisfies our craving for structure and status. But in doing so, we often misread complex animal behavior through a human lens. King Charles becomes a symbol, not just of dominance, but of control in a chaotic world. We project our own ideas onto his movements. We edit videos to make his entrances feel cinematic. But the truth is simpler and deeper. Charles isn't acting dominant. He's just incredibly balanced. And that balance, way rarer and more impressive than any imaginary throne we've placed him on. Dogs don't follow bullies, they follow balance. A truly respected dog isn't feared, they're trusted. That's why dogs gravitate toward individuals who set boundaries without chaos. Charles, in many ways, checks those boxes. He's not overpowering, he's centered. When a new dog arrives, he doesn't rush in barking orders. He watches, he assesses, he regulates. That's the kind of dog others follow, not because they're scared, but because they feel safe. Real leadership in dogs isn't about force, it's about presence. And if there's one thing Charles has in spades, it's presence. Not alpha energy, not macho bravado, just quiet, confident influence. Ever seen Charles with an actual dominant dog? Here's what's wild. He never escalates. He doesn't try to correct them or fight for position. He simply removes himself or redirects energy. That's not backing down. That's strategic avoidance. Unlike insecure dogs who overcompensate, Charles understands when to engage and when to conserve. That's a level of intelligence most people miss. And when a truly aggressive or unstable dog enters, Charles doesn't challenge them. He lets handlers do their job. That's a leader who knows his role. Let the clowns bark. Let the insecure flex. Charles chooses peace. And ironically, that's what makes him so powerful. Behaviorists and trainers agree. The alpha myth needs to die. Renowned experts like Dr. Ian Dunbar and Victoria Stilwell emphasize cooperative relationships, not dominance hierarchies. Cesar Millan, while popularizing pack leader language, has also evolved toward energy-based dynamics. In today's dog world, we now understand that emotional regulation, social cues, and confidence create harmony, not fear. King Charles, whether by nature or nurture, reflects this shift. He's not enforcing order, he's embodying it. He's what modern trainers would call a neutral anchor. Not dominant, not submissive, just steady. And that's gold in the shelter world. So let's answer the big one. Is King Charles the alpha? Technically, no. Not in the old school Hollywood sense. He's not leading patrols or enforcing rules like a canine war general. But if we redefine alpha as the calmest, most emotionally balanced, most energy-aware presence in the room, then yeah, maybe he is. He's not a boss, he's a stabilizer. And ironically, that's more powerful than the fantasy. Because the dogs around him respond not out of fear, but because they feel safe. And in a world full of chaos, isn't that what real leadership is? Not who commands the room, but who calms it. If this changed how you see King Charles, imagine what else you've been told wrong about dogs. Hit that like button if you respect calm leadership. And don't forget to subscribe to Pawble, where we break myths, decode behavior, and spotlight the dogs that defy labels. New stories drop weekly. Stay curious, stay kind, and we'll see you in the next pack.